Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. This is going to be an Achieving Perfection video for a Timeless Voyage and the top node Time Walk. So, this is a brand new event that has come into Magic Puzzle Quest in the M21 block. It's a coalition event. It's another PvP event. It's got two nodes. The top one, Time Walk, is a bit funky. For that matter, the permanent supports in this are generally a bit funky. And I'm going to be doing this video a little bit differently. So really quickly, I'm going to show you the deck that I'm planning to use for this. I'm planning to use Nissa Worldwaker because it requires a lot of gem conversion and card draw. I have Eidolon of Blossoms, so I'm planning to use this deck right here. Now, I'm going to go into why I'm using this deck as I usually do. I'm going to go over all of the objectives. But instead of having another deck that I'm showing off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build another brand new deck and go over my suggestions for what you can do. Some of the feedback I've gotten from my previous Achieving Perfection series videos is that people can't necessarily build the other decks that I'm making, or maybe they have better cards, but they still wind up using the video that I have designed for newer players. So hopefully this will help you build the best deck that you can with your collection, so that you can get all of your ribbons and achieve a perfect score on the Time Walk node. Now, for this node here, right, you've got to win the fight. You need to match 18 or more gems of your Planeswalker's colors during the fight, and then you also need to draw 8 or more cards during the fight. Now, there's a very unique, support here for the Time Walk node, right? So when you make your first match during your turn, gain an extra swap. When you activate your third loyalty ability, shuffle the last card from your hand into your library, draw a card, that card gains full mana. So your third loyalty ability should be your Planeswalker's bottom ability, the third one, right? So for Nissa Worldwaker, Heart of Zendikar. But really the interesting thing about this is that when you make your first match, you gain an extra swap. So that means that you're going to get an extra swap every turn, and Greg, the AI, is going to be getting an extra swap every turn. And you guys have all experienced some of Greg's crazier cascades and mana matches. Now imagine that Greg gets to match twice in a turn. So it's going to be very important for this node that you are building a deck that can handle massive card play, right? Because that's just going to inherently happen. Now, because the objectives are going to require you to match 18 or more gems for your Planeswalker colors and draw 8 cards, that's really where you want to start your building process. Now, the drawing 8 or more cards is just going to happen. Like, I can't really see very many situations where you don't draw 8 or more cards during the fight. It's kind of a gimme. I mean, you draw a card on your turn. There's a lot of things in the game right now that help you draw cards. So if you don't have a particularly diverse collection in your paws, then it's going to take you a little bit longer anyways to take out your opponent. And so it's going to take more turns. You're going to draw cards. The identity, though, that's where this gets interesting. So there are a few avenues that you can take. Avenue 1 is to use a tricolor walker like one of the Bolosses or Brokon or Tamio. And if you use one of those tricolor walkers, 3 different colors count as gems of your Planeswalker's color. So if you were to use, say, Bolos the Ravager, any blue gem match, any black gem match, and any red gem match would count as matching gems of your Planeswalker's colors during the fight, which would definitely make it a lot easier for you to reach that objective. The second way to go is the way that I'm going, and that's going to be with green gem conversion. Green gem conversion is at an all-time high right now in standard for Puzzle Quest. Well, not an all-time high, right? Because we used to have Rishkar's expertise along with Seasons Past and Nissa's Renewal, but like it's the best that it's been in a very, very long time because of things like Eidolon's Blossoms, Omen of the Hunt. You've got Song of Creation for card draw. There's a whole bunch of like wacky stuff that you can do. So yeah, I'm going with green gem conversion, but that's only going to be option 2. Option 3 is going to be restricted to players who definitely have much larger collections in their disposal, and that's going to be that you wind up running Urza, right? So Urza is, I know I'm going a little bit of a roundabout way to getting to Urza, but that is because there are actually a few things on my account that I don't know that I'm allowed to show, so I have to go this way right now. But I've got Urza, Lord High Artificer, right? And so this creature here is going to convert the whole gem board to blue. And so this one's going to make it so that you're able to achieve that match 18 in no time flat. So let's get into how I would go about deck building for this if you can't build my Nissa deck. Now, one of the great things about this is that, especially for newer players, Nissa 1 is going to be an incredible option here, because if you've got Nissa 1 leveled up, the first ability, Nature's Bounty, is to draw a card and to convert gems to green. So Nissa Sage Animist is already a green walker. The third ability, Nature's Regrowth, is going to convert 25 gems to green. I'm not saying that this is the best option, and I'm not even saying that this is a top tier option, but I am absolutely saying that this is, for a newer player, an absolutely reasonable Planeswalker to use for this node. And so as a result, this is going to be the Planeswalker that I am going to build around. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this food deck, because obviously we are not using food here. Now you're going to want to limit to standard. So it was really nice of Octagon to actually go ahead and put them all in order for standard. Standard starts at the Ravnica set that I have right there, and it's just basically the whole bottom row right now. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and type convert, and then whatever the color that you have the best gem conversion for. Now, as I'm using a monocolor walker, I'm going to go ahead and type in convert green, and I'm going to put that in for my support. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put in some kind of support that is going to be able to match green for you. Now keep in mind, this is all what you should do if you don't have access to Eidolon of Blossoms or Urza, because Eidolon and Urza are definitely the two best ways to go, but if you don't have those, this is what you're going to want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in Castle Garenbrig, I'm going to go ahead and throw in Gingerbread Cabin, and I'm going to go ahead and, I forgot Origins, shame on me, throw in Nissa's Pilgrimage. So this gives me a solid core of gem conversion between Garenbrig, that's going to convert gems to green, Gingerbread Cabin, that's going to convert gems to green, and Nissa's Pilgrimage, that converts gems to green. You're going to want to try, if you can, to run 3 converters for this, just because you need to match so many gems. If you want to go the gate route is going to be absolutely fantastic for this, especially if you're just running the gates for your tricolor walker, if you're running said tricolor walker, because the gates are just able to totally blow up and give you tons of gem matches in your Planeswalker's colors as you start to reinforce and stack them. So the gate strategy is absolutely a viable one here. Now, after you've gone ahead and put in your land base, the next thing that you need to do is you need to go ahead and type in destroy right here. That's going to go ahead and pull up your removal for you. Because your opponent is also going to be matching twice in a turn, you need to run some heavy removal that's more than just a 1-for-1. And when I say a 1-for-1, I mean something like Assassin's Trophy, right? Assassin's Trophy, you play this card, so you use one of your cards to destroy one of your opponent's cards. What you really need are going to be, you're going to need something that's going to be able to wipe out a bunch of different things, ideally. You might not have it, but if you do, go ahead and use it. I'm going to throw the Great Aurora into this deck, because the Great Aurora wipes away everything. So if my opponent gets a really lucky Cascade, they wipe out their hand, I want to be able to address that. Now, understand that I'm not making necessarily a budget-friendly deck exactly. I'm just going over how you should go about making it. So this isn't necessarily the deck that you would copy, but it's something that you should definitely go about trying to follow just in spirit. Right, so as for other cards with Destroy, I'm going to throw in Casualties of War, because this is definitely more than a 1-for-1. In a best case scenario, well, I mean, not best case, because then your opponent has 5 things down, but Casualties of War can be a 5-for-1. So I'm going to throw in Casualties of War, and the final one I'm going to throw in is going to be Death Sprout. Because Death Sprout, although it is a 1-for-1, it gets us lands, and in getting us lands, it's going to help us achieve the identity objective of matching gems. So you're going to first want to make sure you've got your gem converters. Second, make sure that you have your removal. And then third, you want to make sure that you have stuff that's going to draw you cards. It's not because the researcher objective is there. That's definitely not it at all. You want things that's going to draw you cards, because if you're getting 2 matches a turn, you're going to be able to play a lot more than you're used to playing. And so as you're going to be able to play a lot more than you're used to playing, you're going to want to have a way to replenish the cards in your hand. And so you're going to go ahead, you're going to type in draw, and you're going to want to go ahead and throw in your card draw. So For me, because I'm running a pretty land-heavy deck with stuff like that, I'm going to go ahead and throw in Escape to the Wilds here, just because Escape to the Wilds is going to draw 5 cards and then give all the land supports full mana. So this is just going to fit hand in hand with what I am trying to accomplish here. And now, I know that I have only one card draw thing in here. If you can, go ahead and throw in 2. This particular Nissa does not have a way of making her own creatures, so she isn't exactly going to be my best friend for that particular thing. So the next thing you're going to want to look for are your creatures. Now, you are going to know better than anyone probably what your best creatures are. So you're going to want to go ahead and prioritize creatures that do more than just being big bad creatures. I know that creatures like Gaia's Revenge are really strong, but they aren't necessarily the best creature to use for an event like this, because you want to make sure that you're A, not killing your opponent too quickly, but B, you want to make sure that your creatures are doing more for you than just doing damage. Now, I should pause for just one moment and say that there's also this Time Rift here support that's going to be on the battlefield that is another permanent support, and it says at the beginning of each player's turn, reinforce this support. At the end of each player's turn, if this support is reinforced 12 or more times, it loses all of its reinforcements, then all the cards in each player's hand gain full mana, and each player gains 30 loyalty. So you definitely don't want the game to keep drawing on and on and on, because while it's definitely really cool that the support reinforces, and then at the end of each player's turn, if it's reinforced 12 times, it loses all its reinforcements. You ideally don't want that to go off, because it's pretty nasty, right? I mean, on the plus side, right, because it's 12, your turn, it reinforces, your opponent's turn, it reinforces, yours, it reinforces, your opponent's, yours, your opponent's, yours, your opponent's, yours, your opponent's, yours, your opponent's, right? So I mean, it's gonna charge up pretty quickly. I was saying on the plus side, this is not a plus side. It's at the beginning of your opponent's turn. So this is actually going to pop on your opponent's turn instead of on your turn, right? So then your opponent's going to get full mana in all their hand, and they're going to get that 30 loyalty before you get to do anything with it. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. It may even wind up making things that have flash a little bit better, because yeah, your opponent's probably going to be playing some creatures. So when you're looking through your creatures, like I mentioned, you're going to want them to be able to do more than just be creatures, right? So as I'm looking through my creatures here, I definitely want creatures that are going to be able to not only kill my opponent, but they're also going to maybe be able to give me some way of doing a little bit more something something, right? And when I say a little bit more something something, I mean that they're gonna help me with my objective. So for this, I would actually go ahead and very realistically consider using something like Beanstalk Giant, because it has gem conversion, and not only does it have gem conversion, but this giant is thick. It's big, and so especially because of the way that you get an extra match, that means that you can go ahead and cast this as a spell. It'll come back to your hand, and then on your next match, you could go ahead and play the Beanstalk Giant. So cards with adventure are actually going to be pretty decent here. Apart from the Beanstalk Giant, I'm going to want to go ahead and definitely throw in something that gives me a little bit more, nasty pizzazz. Now, I have this card, so I am definitely interested in using it myself. You may not have this card, so you may not use it, but it is... Oh, where are you? Oh, I'm looking at the Mythics. Shame on me. It's Quartzwood Crasher, right? Quartzwood is a savage beast. So you know what? Let's not use Quartzwood today, Nalthazar. Let's not do it. Let's be a nice boy. Let's go ahead and throw in Avatar of Growth, even though I know not everyone's going to have this one, but it's going to convert gems to green. It's going to fetch lands, put them onto the board, which is very, very useful. And then for the last one, I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly see if I have any creatures that also draw me cards. I do know that I have one in Hydroid Krasis, but I look through, I go, oh, okay, well, Hydroid Krasis, what do? You draw a bunch of cards. Perfect. We'll throw you in as a final creature and maybe go with something like this right here. Now I've got 2 things for card draw, which is good. I've got my first ability for card draw, which is good. I'm stacked on removal. I've got 2 different cards that are able to bypass hexproof, which is good, because you can be rest assured that Some people are not going to watch this video, and they're going to be running Gaia's Revenge on this node. A lot of people are going to be running green. That's just going to be the way of it because you have to convert gems. There's going to be a lot of tricolor walkers. I imagine you're going to see a lot of people running gates. Like I mentioned, the gate strategy is a very good strategy. But yeah, use these tips to build your deck. Remember, just in order: 1, get your gem converters; 2, get your removal; 3, get your card draw; and 4, get your creatures, and you will be fine. Really, you'll be fine. It's definitely a scary node. If you can, you do want to make this a quicker match, because if you're able to make it a quicker match and win within those 6 turns, you do not have to worry about your opponent's time rift going off, or the time rift going off and your opponent getting that super turn before you get your super turn. But yeah, so I really hope this helps you out. I hope that you're able to go perfect this weekend. If you have any questions, by all means, go ahead and join my community Discord. The link is in the description. You're welcome to post questions and join the community, be a part of it. It's a thriving community. We're more than 70 people strong now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.